Hey, friends. Hey, I'm Mel, and this is my podcast, Clearing the Fog. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here because today I have a subject that I am so excited to share with you, talk about, and hopefully clear up some fog. My podcast is coaching for the Latter day Saint teen, young adult, and divorcee who is dealing with the confusion of heavy emotion and also the thought storm that accompanies this human experience that we all have and we all share, so that we can kind of clear that fog and make progress towards our eternal purposes, why we're here in this life. And so I do that with perspective, through the lens of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, with that said, today I am talking about anxiety. So, I'm going to tell you anxiety is lying to you. Anxiety lies to me all the time. Dang anxiety. But I'm going to tell you that anxiety is my friend anyway. And so I wanted to kind of go through a couple of points. Maybe I have more points than that, but first off, before I get to kind of why I'm telling you that anxiety is a liar and how I treat anxiety as a friend, I have a story or two that I want to share with you. So when all throughout my life, I have been super into repelling. I started repelling when I was about 15 years old, and I took to it like a duck to water. Like, the first time I went down, I just remember being so excited, and the cliff had a gradual decline, and it was 70 feet of sandstone, and I loved it. I loved everything about it, and I never really remember being super afraid to rappel. And so what was so interesting to me is about a year and a half ago, I had a rappelling trip planned with some friends. We were so excited. It had been a little while since I'd been rappelling, and we were going to camp at the base of this cliff and also do some rappelling at night. And so we got a group together, a very small group, and planned our trip. And we got the campsite that we wanted, was at the base of the cliff, and everything was set to go. And I was very, very excited about it. But when we got to the top of the cliff to try out our day rappel, to make sure all of the gear was working, and we were ready for our night rappel, we got on the top of the cliff, and we had some newbies with us. And so our leader was describing a lot of the safeties that we needed to be cautious of, mindful, and just prepare us to go over the edge, so that we could have a safe and fun experience. But as he was describing all of the safeties, my focus shifted into everything that could possibly go wrong and why we need safety. And as I started to shift my focus, my heart started to race, and I started to feel a little nervous about this rappel. And I was like thinking, okay, I'll just push past it. It'll be fine. When it came to be my turn to go over the edge, I was very experienced. I've had, like, at this point, I had about 25 years of rappelling experience under my belt. And so I just figured I'd lean into my experience and everything would be fine. But I got to the top of the rappel, and just anxiety washed over me like nothing I've ever felt before. And it really worried me. It scared me. And so I had to pull up and reset. And I got myself unhooked, and I sat at the top of the mountain wondering what just happened. I didn't know what to think of that experience. I tried again and started to rappel, and my body was saying no. I was definitely in anxiety mode, and my body was freaked out. I was shaking. My heart was racing. My breath was speeding up. And I actually started to cry. I'm like on top of this mountain. I not really knowing what to do. And I'm like crying. And my poor friend who, who we hadn't really hung out before this moment, uh, doesn't know me and doesn't know my experience and doesn't know really how to handle it and just wants to put the tears back in and he did his best to change my focus, but to no avail. And so I ended up like hiking back down and sitting at the base, being willing to just be on belay for the other repellers. And I gave myself time to reset, recoup, shift my focus. And then I actually went back up on top and I thought, okay, I've had time to recoup, shift my focus, and we're going to try this again. But then again, same thing. Fear washed over me and it was a no. And I had to, unhook and just be done, like not do the rappel that day. And so that was an interesting experience because I had never had to face fear that strongly before. Fast forward to about a month or two later, I was just so determined to push past this and see, I didn't want a sport that I really loved to uh, to beat me like that. I wanted to be able to enjoy it again. And so I got a different group together. We went close by my house. And this time, instead of being 150 feet, which is where we were in Moab, we were camping. This one was only 80 feet and it had a great overhang. It was a rappel that I've done many times and one that I'm familiar and comfortable with. But this was a different group, and we got up to the top of this rappel, and the person I was with was setting up all the riggings, making sure it was all ready, and I could feel that fear coming back, and all the same feels from my rappel a month and a half before were coming back to me, and I started to get a heavy chest and to breathe heavy, and fear was just coming, and I was starting to shake. And I hooked up anyway, and we got all set. And my friend said, "Do you want to go down by yourself, or do you want me to come with you?" And I said, "You better come with me." And so we started to inch our way over the edge of this cliff, and I'm like, I'm shaking. I'm scared. Is this okay? Because I have never had to do a rappel scared like that before. So it was something that I wasn't familiar with, and I wasn't sure if this was actually safe. So, and he said, "Yeah, you're safe. You'll be fine." And then, of course, I had a device where I could actually slow down the speed at which I was descending. And so I knew that, and I think he pointed that out to me. If you need to, then you could just rig it quickly so you can slow your descent. And I said, okay. So I started going down. My breath was heavy. My heart was racing. My legs were shaking. And I started to go over and just breathing heavy and just having faith. And I'm going to link up a video to what happened right after. So this is so interesting. It's so important. As soon as I got over the edge of this rappel, it was like I was back home and I was comfortable again, and I was trusting my anchors. I could feel the anchors in the top of the rock, and I could feel the harness, and I was just hanging out on this cliff 80 feet above the ground, and I was at home. And there's this moment right after I get over the edge where I was able to shift, and you'll see in this video what happens next. And what you'll see is that I'm able to not only rappel, but comfortably, I did it upside down. And that's how I love to experience this particular cliff, is playtime upside down and just controlling my descent and feeling the joy of being able to descend this cliff face. Okay, so let's talk about anxiety, because anxiety's purpose is actually rooted in fear. And fear, when you're having fear, it's to keep you safe. So, they're in kind of more extreme sports, like I was experiencing. Uh, there are definite safety concerns to be aware of. But in everyday life, you're actually not facing imminent death. And so that's where your lie is. Fear will tell you two things. Something extremely terrible is going to happen. It wants you to believe that you might actually die. But it also has future focus. Anxiety has your focus shifted to the future. And the lie is that everything that is bad is absolutely going to happen. And where we get stuck is believing that and leaning into that and focusing on that. And the worry comes when we ruminate. And another word for ruminating, another way to put that is overthinking. We overthink about it and we process all of the different angles and the ways that this could be true, the lies that worry is telling you. So, what do we do about that? First of all, is to recognize that it's a lie. The second thing is to understand that you have the power to create. Understand that your tomorrow hasn't happened yet. You're still in today. So understand that you can create something. Even if bad things happen, the Lord will guide you through it. The opposite of the opposite of fear is faith. Faith in your ability to create something good, and faith in your partnership with the Lord that He can guide you to something amazing. So I really want you to think about that. And then also, one of the tactics I like to use is something that I learned in meditation, and that is the silent mind technique. And the silent mind technique is rooted in breathing. We do a lot of breath work. And so you breathe in for four counts, hold your breath, and then breathe out for 4 counts. And what I like about that is when you're holding your breath, you'll notice that the mind tends to clear. And I know that the mental chatter, it will come rushing right back. But the silent mind technique is really great for being able to slow down that chatter so that you can start to pick out, okay, what are we actually saying? And when I say that anxiety is a friend of mine, I actually just kind of tuck it inside to my side like a child, because when we have these overwhelming emotions, a lot of times it's operating from our child brain, the part of the brain that's not super developed. And you have to use your thinking brain, your planning brain, your adult brain to help child brain to sort through all the craziness that's going on. And so I just tuck that little child next to me and say, okay, worry, what do you have to say? What are you worried about? And than worry tells me. And when I do the silent mind technique, I am able to slow down all of the things that worry is telling me. And I'm able to listen. And then once I'm able to sort out what worry is actually afraid of, then I'm able to say, okay, I hear you. I've got you. It's okay. We can create a plan. And then you create a plan that there is something that you can do today to create something good now. So one of my techniques is, after that breathing, is to shift your focus from the future to today. What can I do today? And Worry and I sit together, and sometimes the last time I had a lot of anxiety, I actually was doing this breathing technique for a couple of days, and I just felt that heaviness and that tightness in my chest, and just my chest just gets really heavy, and sometimes I get a little lightheaded. And I just have to breathe, and I just breathe and listen to the worry, and I just keep anxiety next to me and do my best to live with the day. So, while you're breathing, I want you to understand that there's nothing wrong with you if you are experiencing anxiety or experiencing worry. It's part of the human existence. So I allow worry to tell me its story, and I don't push it away, because anxiety and worry tells me about the things that are important to me. So once I learn about the things that are important to me, learn about the things that I'm worried about, then we can move into that step of, okay, bring myself back to now. What can I create? And then we work from there to create something good. So we have that plan to create something good, but we also have this belief in self and self-confidence. To be able to create something good, you have to believe that you can do it, and also have faith in the Lord to have partnership with you so that you can create something with the Lord, that He will be able to guide you, to lead you, and also help you manifest things into your life that will bless you and benefit you. So, I want you to think about that concept of faith versus fear. There's nothing wrong with you, and sometimes you have to sit with your little child worry and listen to its stories until it is ready to accept a forward motion. If you sit there for a day or two, there's really nothing wrong with you. Hopefully you can continue to function in the rest of your daily life. Sometimes, I'm a mom and I work for a living, and there are tasks that I have to absolutely do. And I just bring worry with me when I'm having those episodes of anxiety. But I know that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just processing this emotion, and I'm listening to the stories of, that thought storm of why, and listen to what's important to me. So I hope you learned something a little bit today about anxiety and how to process it, understanding that it's lying to you because the future has not happened yet. That's tomorrow. And when anxiety tries to tell you that it's true, it's not, because it's an existence that hasn't been created yet. So do your best, my friends, to bring your focus back into today and allow yourself time to process heavy emotion like anxiety. And my hope for you is that you will be able to create something amazing and beautiful in your today. All right, my friends, I hope this finds you well, and I just want you to know that you're amazing, and I believe in you, and you have a beautiful, amazing potential and reason for being on this earth. And I want you to step into that, to lean into that, and have faith that you can create something good. Until next time, my friends, we'll see you later.